Good evening and blessings, everybody out there. What's going on? It's your man Rod Hickman, generational wealth builders, where poverty ends with us. Listen, coming back to you on this Sunday night. Coming back to redo my video from last night. The internet was just kind of sketchy there, and if you know me, you know I'm a perfectionist when it comes to how we look, how I present. What it is that I have, right? I get very, very aggravated, kind of like shoot off when my internet is not working the way it's supposed to. Pay too much money for this stuff, man. So yeah, Ritter, y'all gonna hear from me tomorrow. But either way, I wanted to get on and talk a little bit because I know there's a lot of noise. Companies are laying people off, right? People are afraid of what's going on. And when people are afraid, they react in ways that could hurt them more than help them, right? And say that again. When people are afraid, they react in ways that could hurt them more than help them. And so that's kind of why I wanted to get on here tonight, just for a few minutes. So again, if you don't mind, like, share, let somebody know, hey, that wild man is back on again tonight. But either way, I want to talk about how corporate layoffs can and do affect your retirement, right? And so with that being said, I was started off with the article last night. Matter of fact, I'll put some of their points down in the chat for you to be able to read for yourself. But what they were saying was when you get laid off, they were making the point that there are 5 things that you can do with your retirement. 5 things you can do. First thing they said is review your 401k balance. I agree with that. You should review. You should know how much you have in your 401k. The second thing that they said is move the funds into an IRA or another 401k. Now, I agree with the IRA part. We can talk about that another time, but not into another 401k, because if you know me, if you've been listening and following what we teach, you'd understand that a 401k doesn't benefit you. It was never designed to be your primary means of retirement. I know a lot of people are like, what do you mean? They told me, go to school, get a job, get a 401k, and life is going to be great. Well, if that's the case, people, the question that I love to ask is, why do we have a retirement crisis? Why is it that people now that are retired are having to go back to work, right? Why is it that so many people that have retired are now concerned about money? Why? Because they're running out of money. Because again, if you follow me, you know I've told you this before, a 401k is like a pot of money. So if you retire and you have $1 million, that's all you have. You have to find a way to stretch that $1 million. And so what most people do to stretch that is they change their lifestyle, right? So can you imagine, if you would, where while you're working, and let's just say you're making $50,000 a year, when you retire, because you have to stretch that money, you now have to scrimp down to below poverty level. And that's what's happening. That's why people are having to go back to work. They're unretiring as a result of that. So that's why, again, so for point number 2, I partially agree with that, because, again, I think that you should move it into an IRA, more expressly a fixed index annuity, because what that's going to do, that's going to help set up and make sure that you have guaranteed income for the rest of your life. That's what an annuity does. It's a way to make sure that you never run out of money. That's what an annuity does. And that's why, again, last night I was showing that LIMRA was showing that in 2024, because people lost so much money out of their 401k, people were pulling money from IRAs and they were throwing it into fixed index annuities. Folks, last year, so in 2022, from 2022 to 2023, they saw a 21% growth in people buying fixed annuities. You go from 23 to 24, it was 22% or almost 23%. 24 to 25, it's a over 30% growth. So I'm saying the writing's on the wall. A lot of people are just not listening to it, and I understand why. Because the people from U.S. News and World Reports, I understand they're trying to keep their client base. They're trying to keep their coffers. I ain't hating on them, but what we do here as generational wealth builders, we're going to tell you the truth. May not like it, may not be fancy. It might come across as a lima bean green Nova, but it's the truth. So again, that's basically what we want to say. The third point that they say is withdraw your money from your 401k. Folks, I do not agree with that. And that's what I'm going to spend most of my time talking about tonight. Because what happens is you take that money out, 9 times out of 10, you're going to be taxed and penalized, right? So let me just give you easy math. If the income tax is 20, let's say it's 25%, 26%, you've got to pay that income tax. Plus, you've also got to take a penalty. If you're not 59 and a half, you're going to pay a 10% penalty from taking from that IRA early, right? And folks, this is why when we sit down with our clients, and by we, I mean myself, my wife, any of our generational wealth builders, we train our agents to make sure that should these times come, that you already have an emergency fund, right? And we show you how to develop that emergency fund, but I'll talk about that a little later. Just don't let me forget. But basically, you should not be taking a hit. If you got $100,000 in your 401k and you pull that $100,000 out, you're going to pay over 30% for that. And that's only if your state does not have state taxes. Because guess what? Then you got to pay taxes on that money too. So again, that's why we do not agree with that. You should have something already set in place. Now, again, I understand for some folk, you don't have savings. You don't have any of those things. So I understand it's kind of do or die for you. But that's where we want to make sure that you don't put yourself in this place, right? You should never be in this position where you have to pull from your retirement money. You should never be in that position. That's one of the worst things that you can do. Because again, your money is being eaten up in taxes. That's what's happening. Uncle Sugar is getting at least 30% of your money, at least 30%. And so that's why we say don't do that, right? That's one of the reasons why we don't do that. The last thing they said is know what happens to your 401k if you get fired, right? And again, that's ultimately what a layoff is. You ultimately got released. Typically what happens to your 401k is they will move it from an active investment account into like a holding cell. And this holding cell is basically just holding on to your money. It kind of goes to a old school brokerage house and it just kind of dies off. And if you're not following where that money is, what's going to happen is they're going to eat your money up in fees. Because again, they're not there to get you a great return on your money. They're just holding your money. It's literally a holding house. And so your money's not growing and they're getting their fees up off you every year. And they will dwindle that money all the way down and then you'll be gone. So here we go. This is what I want to talk about. And I want to tell you how corporate layoffs actually affect your retirement. So the obvious one is there's a loss of income, right? When you stop having money come in, that affects your lifestyle, right? And again, a lot of the time people are like, well, I'll just pull from my retirement so I can get on my feet. But no, baby, don't do that, right? Plenty of people are hiring out there. And let me say it like this. I understand you may be making $60,000 here, right? And I hope that your debt to income ratio is not so high that your bills are ultimately $58,000, right? I hope that's not the case. Because what you can do so that you don't have to pull for your money is go get another job. Jobs are hiring right now. There are a lot of companies that are hiring. So again, this means you may need to get your resume together, find somebody that looks at resumes, things of that nature. I kind of do it, but I don't have any bandwidth for that. So go on LinkedIn, find someone that looks at resumes, things of that nature. I'll give you a real quick hit. Go to Job Hero. If you go on jobhero.com and type in the kind of work that you want to do, they actually have resumes there where you can pull bullet points from that. See, that's what happened when you listen to us. I put you up on game. See, I'll be dropping more gems than a drunken pirate. All right. But loss of income, again, even if you're making $40,000 a year, that still gives you something. That still gives you something coming in so you don't have to go to your 401k money, right? That's what I want y'all to understand. And let me back up. If you have that 401k, you need to talk to somebody before you get too tempted to spend that money. I'm just trying to tell you, because again, you'll be like, oh, well, you know, I'll get it together and I'll get started. I'll take a month off. I need a month off. No, baby. No, you don't. If you got $100, $200, $300,000 in your retirement account, and I ain't being funny, and you in your 30s or 40s, you ain't got no time to be taking off, big dog. You need to get out there and get to work. And again, I say that with all respect, but you don't have time to sit back and relax and pilfer off that money, right? You don't. You need to get that money into a fixed index annuity so that money can start growing. All right. So the first thing is, you must understand that loss of income is going to impact you. And as I've been saying, the next thing that's going to impact you is if you take that money, you're going to face penalties and taxes to pull that money out. Yes, you are. You're going to face it. So don't do it. Don't tempt yourself in that position to be able to take that money out, right? Again, another reason why you want to get a job is because you're going to be losing your health care insurance, right? And that's one of the main things that strikes families in between jobs, right? What strikes families are you don't have enough health insurance coverage. And what do they call it? Murphy's Law. If something can go wrong, it will go wrong. And normally it's going to happen just as soon as you're not covered. So again, that's another reason why you want to get another job. You don't want to be living off your 401k and then try to pay medical bills off that 401k. That's not what you want to do, because literally you're liquidating your retirement and you're going to have to start over, right? So this is another reason why you should have a life insurance with Rod Hickman's Generational Wealth Builders, because of our living benefits. But again, I'm not going to be that guy tonight. Yes, I am. You should have a life insurance policy that have living benefits that operate similar to what we can call a supplemental health program. And what the living benefits will do for you is, God forbid, if you're diagnosed with a critical, chronic, terminal illness or injury, you get into a wreck, have a heart attack, stroke, whatever the case may be, you have the opportunity to get up to 80% of your death benefit while you're still alive, right? That is why we advocate for living benefits. And I can say this because I've seen enough policies. A lot of people are comfortable with insurance policies that don't have the living benefits, and I can't understand it. And I guess it's because they're like, well, Frank sold it to me. I understand that, but Frank sold you a duck. He sold you a lemon. Because again, why, if I can give you more life insurance for less money with more benefits, you have an overall better value, why wouldn't you go with that? Again, I understand supporting Frank. I do. But at the same time, what's going to happen to you if something happens to you? Past you, what about your family? How's it going to impact your family if something happens to you? Not fatal. How's your family going to respond? So again, these are things you want to think about. Another thing you want to think about, your pension benefits. You could lose them. If your company lays off, yeah, you could lose your pension benefits. Why is that? Because typically, if your company's doing that kind of layoff, they may be downsized. And if your money that is not vested, that's not your money. Absolutely. I need y'all to look this up. If your money is not vested, what I mean by that, company says, okay, you got to work here 5 years, right? Now you putting in your money, they putting in their money. If they say you become vested after 5 years, but you quit in 4, whatever they put in there, you don't necessarily get. Not my rules, it's just the reality of it. And again, here's the thing I'm saying to y'all folks. If you think what I'm saying is not true, call your 401k carrier. Ask them. They have to tell you. They must tell you, right? Contact HR. they must tell you the truth. They don't tell you that because, as I've told y'all before, those 401k funds, because it's a employer-sponsored program, those funds, they help bolster the company profile. That's all it is. They get a tax break for it, and it helps bolster their company profile, meaning look like they got a lot more money than what they really have. All right. Next thing I want to talk about. Now, y'all, this one here. Another reason why you want to get your money out of the variable market is because of the market influence, right? Right now, the market is kind of tripping and walking like a dude in some church shoes down a wet hill, right? Oh, wait a minute, right? It's getting ready to fall, right? And so you want to make sure that your money is not impacted in that. What we show all of our clients and what we teach our agents are this right here. Listen, when you get ready to, when the market drops, whatever percentage the market drops annually, you literally have to double that to get back where you were last year. And I typically use easy numbers because, again, not everybody's a mathematician, right? But watch this. If you have $100,000 and the market gains 50%, now you have $150,000 in your retirement account, right? Easy math, right? But let's just say the market loses 50% that next year. What most people don't know is that now you have 75,000. Absolutely. And so what has to happen is, in order for you to get back to where you were, the market that next year must do, listen, 100%. That market must do 100% in order for you to get back to the 150. If the market only does 50%, then literally you're at 112K and you're still down $37,500. Again, I know I'm throwing a lot of numbers at y'all. This is why we love for people to come in, sit down for a free consultation, because we are going to show you how you can protect your family, how you can protect your retirement. You don't have to be broke. You don't have to end up in a situation where you're worried and stressed out about your 401k. You don't have to do it. And so that's what we do. That's what we teach people. And that's what we want y'all to know. We want y'all to understand that. And the sooner that you understand that, the better you are protected. Now, nobody reminded me, but I thank God I'm reminded my own self, right? Now, when we sit down with the client, so that our clients do not have to sit there and pull from their retirement account, we help our clients establish an indexed universal life insurance policy. So literally what we do, we roll over their 401k if we can, and that goes into a fixed annuity, and that money starts growing. And then what we do, we then start them for what they were contributing into their 401k. We say, hey, man, put that money over here. And now as they start putting that money into their index universal life policy, guess what? If they need money, guess where they go? Not to their annuity. They pull it from their IUL. So their annuity is steadily growing because, as I teach everybody, your retirement money is your bill money for your future self. It is not for you right now to try to make it through, give braces for little Donnie. None of that. It's for your future self. It's your bill money for your future self. And that's why I tell people all the time, listen, you ain't got to listen to Rod. You don't, right? But let's listen to what's going on out here. So when you put your money in the variable market, it's like going to the casino. And when you go to the casino, it's a couple rules that you would do wise to know. Rule number one, the house always wins. Period and point blank. Remember, I told y'all my story. I even did a live about it. We were out there in Las Vegas for our annual convention. And I'll never forget. Oh, hey, Pastor Lydia Collier. I see you on the you out here. How we doing, Chief Apostate? Blessings to you. But either way, so we're out there in Vegas, and we had some time to kill. And what we did was we went through one of those little timeshare joints. Now, y'all got to know me. When I tell y'all I ain't going to do something, I'm stubborn like a mule. I don't know if I get that from my mama, my daddy, or both. So there I am. I'm sitting there and talking with the guy. And I'm like, man, you know, they got all this, they got all that, and everything like that. And the guy says to me, he said, you do realize this city was built on losers. Oh my God. When he said that, I was like, bruh, I wonder how many people actually know that's the case. Because it's true. Think about it. What do people think when they go and gamble? Oh, man, I just one more pull, just one more. You win a little bit, you lose a lot more. And so I'm saying that to say it's the same thing that happened with the variable market. People are like, oh, I can make money in there, but I gotta watch it. Right? Again, that's fine if you got just some play money, but not your bill money, which is rule number 2. You never take your bill money to the casino. Why? Because of rule number 1, that the house always wins. So you never take your bill money to the casino. And so with that being said, that's why we tell people, and when we sit down with our clients, we help them structure a retirement plan and a financial roadmap that allows them to be able to experience the best out of life. How do you mean that, Hickman? Well, their fixed index annuity is going to grow. It's going to make sure that they're able to live above the poverty level. They're going to be able to live above the poverty level in their retirement. So they're not going to have to go back to work. See, my clients will be the ones that will go back to work only if they want to. That's it. They won't have to go back to work. Now, for the IUL purpose, that's how you build money that if you need something, you go pull from it. And with that, now you don't have to pay a 30% tax, 30+% tax, and even have to pay state taxes if that's what your state has. So, folks, that's how corporate layoffs can affect your retirement. So let me end with this. Folks, it is not a wise person to sit on a one-legged stool. And what do I mean when I say this? A lot of people only have one source of income. It's that job. And folks, you cannot keep expecting that things are just going to work out, because a lot of the time that's not how it's going to happen. Life is going to happen. And what's going to happen is if you just have all of your eggs in one basket, meaning all of your eggs are in that job, and you're like, man, this job going to do this, that, and the third, you going to mess around and get some heartburn and find out that when that job does close, there's nothing you can do about it. And the sad reality is, because I've been through this before, and I hear what people say, but I gave them 30 years of my life. Yes, you did. And they still closed the doors on you. So I admonish you, consider finding an additional stream of income. Consider doing something that's going to allow you to make more money on the side. Jim Rohn once had this famous quote. He said, your job pays for your bills, but the profit that you make from your business funds your dreams. And a lot of people can't dream because they're not making any profits. They're working that job, and that job is their only means of income. And so as days grow weary, or as days go on, please consider finding yourself something else to draw income. Listen, I can tell you that the Lord has been really, really good to my family and I. But it's because we've put ourselves in position. Retirement, don't have to worry about it. Why? Because I get high on my own supply. Yes, I do. I have an annuity. My wife has an annuity. My daughter will have an annuity. we get high on our own supply. Additionally, we have multiple policies where, God forbid, if something should happen, where it's a critical, chronic, or terminal illness or injury, I'm getting up to 80% of almost $1.8 million. I know money ain't everything, but how many of you know, long as I don't have to worry about my family being taken care of, I'm okay. I can go through whatever. Let me ask you this question. Which way would you rather go through a situation? Would you rather go through a situation where money is not an issue, or would you want to go through the situation plus have the money issues? And again, this is me just being completely transparent with you, right? I get high on my own supply. I do. I believe that much in these products and services that we present. So as I close, here's my last statement. There are going to be more layoffs. There are. Again, the more they keep talking about tariffs, yes. If I could be honest, in 2023, you remember I was covering it. There were a lot of layoffs already in 2023. They just weren't putting it out there like that, but there were already a lot of layoffs that were taking place. So here's what I want you to understand. Now that you have heard this, I ain't talking about nobody else. I'm talking about those of you that are listening to this broadcast. What are you going to do to make sure that your family's taken care of? What are you going to do? Are you going to make sure that you're taken care of? Are you going to make sure that your 401k is set up, that your retirement is taken care of? Are you going to make sure of that? Because again, as we grow older, bro, hey, you got to be good. And let me help you. With all the market volatility, guess what? My clients haven't lost a dime. Everybody can't say that. And here's the thing. A lot of people are like, well, I'm not going to look at it. Well, guess what? Just because you don't look at it don't mean it's not still hemorrhaging, right? I dare you to cut yourself and then be like, well, I ain't going to look at it. Okay, you still going to bleed out, bro. So again, hope that something that I've said has encouraged your heart. But again, I'm never here to bring you down. But again, I also want you to understand that when we share this information is shared for you to have value. It's not designed, to make you feel good. It's designed to make you live good. All right. That's what we're here for. We're here to make you live good. So listen, that's my time tonight. Let me get ready to go and get out of here and take these shoes off and stuff like that. Listen, thank you so much for tuning in. I hope that you will like, share, comment. Let me know you liked it, you loved it, you hated it. I don't care. Again, I'll respond either way. But again, remember, as always, until we meet again, knowledge is not power until it is applied. You can have an 18-wheeler gassed up, ready to go, and you can rev that engine all day. But if you don't apply the clutch and put it in gear, it's not going anywhere. And that's the same thing that's going to happen with this information that I've shared with you tonight. If you don't put it to use, it's not going to do anything for you. God bless you. May the Lord ever smile on you. Y'all have a good night. God bless and bye-bye.